and welcome to this episode of The American Dream. I'm your host, Erin Klein, and I'm really excited to share my hometown of Minneapolis with you. During the pandemic, a bread craze exploded across the nation, and today we're going to see a real cool little bakery in Minneapolis called Laune Bread. They were recently listed as a must-visit location by the New York Times for the city of Minneapolis. We're going to find out what's so special about this place. Let's go meet the owners. Do you have a reputation and a passion for local ingredient sourcing? Tell us about that and why it's important.
Well, I think that for Chris and I, when we first started Laune Bread, we really thought about the sourcing or lack thereof in the bakeries and other restaurants that we've worked in the past. It was really hard for bakeries centered here in Minnesota to find farmers and mills that were even had the capacity to source grain, grow grain, and mill grain. So that was a great question, and it took a lot of just heavy work in connecting, reaching out. Flash forward to 2024, we have more mills popping up in the state of Minnesota. So we're focusing on choosing and partnering with farms that grow organically and also sustainably or regeneratively is now kind of a more nuanced concept for folks that people might be hearing. Regenerative farming, thinking about not just what you're taking out of the land, but also what you're putting back, which is good for the product, that the end result of what we consume, but it's so much more about the healthy soil, building it back up. It's not just about farming, but an entire system and biodiversity within the system.
Well, and we have this rhubarb out. You do this really cool thing with the community with rhubarb.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So we do this wacky thing called our rhubarb trade. It started last year in 2023, and we were thinking about all the rhubarb that grows in everyone's backyards, and we thought of this really fun program called the Rhubarb Trade, which we trade with our neighborhood folks that have organic rhubarb in their backyards, and we trade it $3 a pound for bakery credit, which can be used for bread and pastry. And last year we collected and traded 700 pounds, and it's only been 3 weeks now, and we've collected 350. So
wow.
We have a long summer to go.
Now, something else that we've talked about that I know you're really passionate about is your bread fund.
Back in 2020, we started our bread fund. We understand that there are gaps in food accessibility, and in order to break some of those barriers, we wanted to offer the bread fund. Our bread fund is community funded through the donations of our patrons and our customers, and so they will purchase a loaf for a future donation bake. When I grew up, we often relied on food assistance, not through food stamps, but we would often go to food pantries or food shelves, and we were used to getting bread on Thursday. Those items were often food with preservatives or bread that was stale or going bad, or just as a recipient of that, it was a huge knock on one's self-dignity, and being able to now, as a bakery, provide fresh baked, organic, whole grain bread to food shelves is something we're really proud and happy to provide for our community.
It's a labor of love.
Yes.
It's spreading love to our community through food.
Yes.
Small way of making a big difference.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for talking with us today.
For sure. It was a pleasure.
Now we're going to visit a nearby part of Minneapolis, the Uptown Lakes area, a vibrant community connected by lakes and trails. Let's go check out city living. We have a lot of condos and apartments in the Twin Cities, but in this area of Minneapolis, not a lot of townhomes.
No, Minneapolis does have a lot of condos, but we don't have the townhomes. So over here, special about this one is that we have 3 townhomes in the neighborhood setting, across from Brownie Lake, right behind Cedar Lake. I mean, location-wise, think about a North Star. No, actually think better than that. Think about a compass. We're in the middle of the compass, and everything's within 5 minutes of us. Downtown Minneapolis, uptown, the West End, you name it, it's here. I mean, the 5 lakes, Bidé-Makaska, Cedar Lake, Brownie Lake, Lake of the Isles. We have trails, we have kayaking, stand-up paddleboarding. Some of the best mountain bike trails are at Theoworth Park. Cross-country skiing. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Yeah, it's a paradise for outdoor lovers.
It is. This is, if you're an outdoor person, this is where you want to be.
And who would be the best fit for a townhouse like this?
I think a townhome like this in the city, the younger professional where you want that turnkey lifestyle where you can turnkey and walk away and not a lot of, you don't have to take care of the outside of the house because you have an association who does it for you. But I also think that older generation who's going for that big giant house, but they want to downsize to a point where they can still have family dinners on the holidays, still have a place for all their things, but not so small where they feel cramped. Just kind of that step down from a bigger home to before a condo.
Yeah, kind of the perfect compromise.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks for joining me on this tour of Minneapolis. I'll look forward to seeing you next time on The American Dream.